Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Captain TV Open Wheel Series. We're here live at Atlanta Motor Speedway on the Electronic Motor Racing Network. And my name is Alan Bledsoe, and I'm joined here in the booth by someone a little different than with this series. Gary Godso. I did a broadcast with you earlier, and sometime last week, I believe, with the IndyCar, the TI Racing. How are you, good sir?
I'm doing good. I get to work with the captain every now and then. So, if they're looking for someone to take from the B team to put onto A team, I guess I'm just as good of a person. But so yeah, we're going to see an interesting race here. We got about a 19 car field here at Fontana, which is going to be a pretty fast race. These cars with the conditions on the track, it's going to be cool. Track temp's going to be down, ambient's going to be down, so it's going to invite for some pack racing. These cars are going to be doing every bit of 220 miles per hour. But actually, in the grand scheme of things, the world closed course speed record by an Indy car is currently still held here, set back in 2000 by Gilles de Ferran, and that was 240 miles an hour. So 220 to 240, a little bit of difference there, but they'll still be looking just as fast while we're watching them here from the booth. But it's going to be, like I said, it's not going to be a night race. These cars look great under the lights. It's going to be fast. These cars look great under the lights, even when they're fast. And we're going to see some pack racing, and that's sometimes when it gets a little dangerous. So watch this first lap. These cars do not like going into turn one when they're not up to speed. They tend to get loose, and I would not be surprised that we have an issue going into turn one, very much just like we did when we had our TI race in Indianapolis going into turn one.
Yeah, that was an interesting turn one for sure. There were a couple cars that got loose, but yeah, I expect the corner exit to be a real hazard. It was at Kansas Speedway earlier in this season, here in this series, and I mean, this is a beginner league. A lot of these guys run constantly on ovals, but not in IndyCar. Um, I mean, the guys like Corey Melton, who is starting in 9th place right now. He is a stock car driver. I believe Ryan Whitaker is a stock car driver. Charles Baldwin, Brighton Hutchings. I don't know. I'm a little bit surprised that Isaac Morris is starting back there, but usually we see Isaac Morris up front.
Yeah, it's normally an Isaac Morris tends to be a regular position for him. I have seen Whitaker do an IndyCar race. He didn't last long in it though, but I do know him mainly from racing trucks with him. But it's a whole different ball game out here. The closing rate's so much quicker. These cars are so much twitchier, if you want to coin a phrase.
And they're much more aero independent.
Yes, and
Aero
arrow
dependent.
dependent and
What I meant.
arrow restricted, because once sometimes when you get behind another truck or another car in Cup or NASCAR, I mean you can work your way around. The arrow push doesn't really cripple you as bad as it does with IndyCar. IndyCar, the arrow push will cripple you, but with the temperatures being and the track temperature especially being so cool as it is, and we'll go over those numbers here in a little bit, that the arrow push shouldn't be as bad. But what I expect is go easy on the first couple of laps. Try to settle in. It's a long race. I believe we're going 125 laps tonight, so 250 miles. So half distance for a 500-mile IndyCar race. Right on that high line. There's no reason to lead laps really here. Get fuel mileage and play for that last round of pit stops so you can get in and out and hopefully be ahead of people that you need to be ahead of so you can make that sprint to the finish.
And I can't remember what the fuel mileage numbers were here at Auto Club. So one thing we want to mention. This may be my first time seeing this race. However, this race was run on Thursday. It is now Monday, so this is a tape delay. We apologize for that kind of inconvenience. However, That's why we're getting it to you. We want to run this broadcast for you guys. So, um, we had looks like the 14 Jacob Gladulich qualified on pole, Sam Fontaine in second place, and I can't tell who qualified third just yet. They haven't gridded up yet.
Ben Pierce there. And then
That's nope,
nope.
Gary. So that's finish order. I don't have the track map up.
No,
Or,
okay.
So, like I
I
said,
might have, let's see. Do I have a grid start here? Okay, yeah, I do have Jacob as P1, Sam P2, Robbie P3, Jacob P4. Again, I don't know if that is the actual finish of the race, but that's kind of what I show right now for the starting grid.
yeah, that sounds right. So Jacob in first, second is the 77 of Sam Fontaine, and then you said Robbie Oddie is in third.
P3, Jacob Locklear P4, Mike Hasty P5, my man Dan Morera P6. Get down to the next line here. Ben Pierce, P7, Austin Sarr, P8, Corey Melton, P9, another teammate of mine, Luke Daniels, P10, Scott Wise, P11, Mike Benedetto, I should know how to say that one, that was P12. And let me know when the cars start rolling on your screen there.
I will do that.
And we got Joey. I'm not even going to try to say that last name just because I have too much respect for you and I don't know you already.
Lotto,
P13,
sir.
Ryan Whitaker. I have no respect for him. P14, Charles Baldwin. P15, Isaac Morris. P16, Brian Hutchins. P17, Zachary Hallinan. P18, and I believe that rounds out the field. Jonathan Thomas, P19, rounds out the 19 car field. A pretty decent size for a field here. Actually, a real good size for the skill level, kind of what we're dealing with tonight. Actually, it used to be most of the IndyCar races back in the 97, 98, 99, somewhere there because of the split. Most series are running with about 19 to 20 cars, so this is a pretty good field for this skill level and a field and a track this size.
And particularly considering IndyCar runs about 20-22 cars on a weekly basis, this is a full-sized field, pretty much, unless you're in the Indy 500, of course.
And I think next year, actually, because it will be the third year with this current reiteration of car. Keep in mind, the IR18 is a modified DW12, same tub, just different aero parts attached to it. Of course, then the aero screen. So this current iteration of car, despite looking different in the IR18, it will be going on about 10 years old. At least the tub part will. So the longer that they continue to use the cars, that allows the prices to come down. More teams willing to expand to maybe a 2-car team to a 3-car team. Maybe a team at the Indy Lights level goes, hey, I want to try this for a change. Maybe there's a car at a team at an LMP2 level that wants to try this. They find themselves a spare car. I think you're going to find a lot of races next year in the IndyCar series, close to 28, 29 drivers in each race. And I think you'll actually see a legit bona fide, a great deal of bumping for next year's Indy 500. You could see as many as 40 cars entered.
Pace car is rolling off. Looks like. I guess that was 2 minutes and 53 seconds to green. So, looks like we have the. I'm gonna try and find that is. No, the 77. Oh yeah, the 14. So Jacob Gladich is in first place, qualified on the pole. Although I cannot tell you what his time was. What was his time, Gary? Do you have that up?
I do not actually have. If I do, I have that in seconds. Let's see here. I got them down as a 32.5, so you'd have to do the math actually what the miles per hour is, but 32.5, it's a pretty good clip getting around here.
Yeah, that's respectable. Um, but we're
Now the
about to
only
go
problem
green.
that
They've let the pace car go.
yeah, they gave a lot of room to the pace car, and the only problem really with Jacob's car is it's green, and we haven't really talked too much about my dislike of green cars, but we'll talk, I'm sure, about that as the race goes on, about the green car jinx.
That's a thing even in NASCAR too.
That is a real thing. It is.
Robbie Oddie all up in his back, all up in his rear tail, uh, wing, rear wing. Oh, Gladulich gets loose, and he takes a couple cars with him.
Yeah,
Like you
and
said,
that looks
turn
like
one hazards.
turn one, lap one, and it looks like if you were to reel that back a little bit, he might have got his left front right there on the on the apron, and that brings the back end around, and some other people just behind him that are just kind of starting this thing out are along for his ride.
He just barely touched the apron, and all of a sudden you
Yeah.
see a bunch of people going with him. And
Yeah, it doesn't take much.
somebody spun by themselves in off the exit. I think that might have been Corey Melton, or maybe the third one. No, that was Corey Melton. So
And so
trying
the
to
cause of
avoid the
that,
crash.
other than grabbing the apron there, is these cars, they generate their own downforce by moving air along the wings. The faster they go, the more downforce that is generated. What happens is when these cars are not coming up to speed, so let's say that they're just getting to turn one at about 180 miles per hour versus their normal 230 when they're peaking out at the end of the, well, they're about up to, let's say, about half power, half strength, right? So that's half the normally generated amount of downforce that would normally be affecting those wings in that car. So as the car comes up to speed and as you're turning that wheel, the car is already light. You already have the car set up to turn, maybe even set up to be a little bit loose. So as you're cranking that wheel, coming up to speed with not all that wind hitting all those aero parts of yours, the back end's going to kind of want to come around, and that's kind of exactly what happens here. Exactly what happens at Indianapolis, happens at Michigan, and a couple of other ovals. That if you're just not watching, you're not prepared on that first turn, first lap, you'll bring that back end on around. Sometimes you're going to clip the apron, but other times it'll just happen by itself.
And that's kind of what happened to Corey Melton as well when he was trying to avoid that crash. The apron was pretty much flat at that point, coming down the back straightaway, but he hadn't quite built up enough speed, and the car just came around.
Yeah, the other thing that can happen and what it might have happened to Corey is that the car unloads when you get off the accelerator and maybe even get onto the brakes because they generate so much downforce. Effectively taking your foot off the accelerator on these cars is just as like hitting the brake. In fact, a lot of times you'll hear guys say when they're at road courses or at 1 mile ovals that when they go through the turns, they're like, are you braking at all? No, I'm just kind of cracking the throttle a little bit. And that's downforce taking the braking action for you. It's actually the natural drag, an air brake, so to speak. So when you kind of bring your foot down off the pedal a little bit, you unload the car, and the back end will become lighter than the front end because there's not as much. There's actually now more resistance on the front wing, slowing the car down, and that will cause the front end to turn down and the back end to get light and come back out and step around.
Very interesting. It's amazing how much the throttle can affect just the aerodynamics of the car.
Yeah,
Really
and you'll
is.
see. Maybe I don't know if necessarily you'll see in this race, but if we maybe in some in cars, you'll see some people go when they're going into the turns, especially going as low as fourth gear, and that getting down to a fourth gear, it helps when you get the car down to fourth gear, it changes the torque and revolutions of the rear wheel and engine as well, of course. And what that helps is it often helps a car that's pushing be able to get down to that white line a little bit closer. So if we get into the in cars where people are going down the fourth gear on some of these corners, and that's why is getting sometimes to a lower gear in these cars will help get you through the corners.
I think that's a regular thing. It usually when you're in the higher gear, like if you're trying to take a turn in fifth gear, you tend to move a little bit slower actually through the center of the corner because it doesn't have, like you said, that kind of torque that it needs to actually get around the corner properly. And the 77, Sam Fontaine, taking the green flag. He's allowed the pace car to leave, and here we go. We're back under green on lap 5. This looks like a much cleaner restart. Got a couple cars side nose to tail here. The 65 looks like Ben Pierce and Ryan Whitaker behind him. Ben Pierce drove away from Whitaker in that Home Depot car.
It's not going to be for long, no. The great equalizer is a draft here. Now, if you look up at the lead, right there in P2, Dan Marrera running that high line. He's not putting the run on the leader. Why should you? You're only 2 laps in. Where are you going to go at this point in time during the race? He ends up passing him on his own without the aid of the draft, just using that high line, and that's how overpowered that high line is. If you stay there, you'll get great runs on people.
And now the top 5 knows all in a draft right now. And here comes the 77 into turn 3. Gets by
no
him.
reason to panic getting past here. It's just going to happen all day long. Just kind of pick your line, hold your line, and maintain your spot. All you really need to do is maintain your pace with the lead draft, and you're good to go. At any time you lose this lead draft and you got to find yourself catching it, you're digging yourself a huge hole.
And Ben Pierce all the way to the inside. He's gonna try to make the pass for the lead all by himself up there or down there. I don't know how well that's gonna work out.
Right, the new tires, not too bad. Later in the race, I wouldn't run down there necessarily trying to go get the win unless it was like the last lap. But now we got him almost 4 wide here at this point. And at this point, if I'm in this group, I'm like, I'm going to run back a little bit, just stay in the draft, but out of their way, because it's just a bit too close at this point in the race. You don't need to be racing this close, less than 10 laps into a 250-mile event.
Yep, just crossed the start-finish line for lap 9. And it looks like Ben Pierce did make that pass. And he's going to run the middle coming out of turn 2. So we've got...
has 4 different lines here if you need to. You can run as clear to the bottom all the way up to the top. And as you see the grooves in the fault there, those aren't exactly line markers, but or lane markers, but they basically do constitute what a lane is. And
we've got a
caution. Yeah.
Wonder what happened there. It looks like the 32 might be a little slow. Uh, 72's got a wobbly wheel. Let's go back and take a look at what happened there. I may have... Next lap here. And the 32 got sideways, and the 72, holy smokes, he smoked the wall, that's for sure. Wonder what happened to the 32 here. What do you think? You think he got the apron a little bit?
I'm going and forward, yeah, right there. That's where he gets the apron. And the interesting thing about IndyCar versus NASCAR, if you're NASCAR, you catch that apron and it helps rotate the car around. IndyCar, it really helps a car rotate around, but not in the way that you want it to. So staying off the apron is it might be a habit that some of the stock car users do, or stock car drivers do, but you definitely want to stay off it as an Indy car or in an Indy car.
And we have some pit stops. Looks like the 65 stayed out, but Rabiati in that 44, he was a front runner. He's down pit road now, and we've got someone sideways on pit road. That's the 72. He's
I
just
think he
having
was,
all kinds of problems. Poor
yeah,
Mike Hasty.
he's already damaged. It looks like he was missing part of a wing there, trying to avoid a toe, and I understand that.
Yeah. He hit the wall really hard, trying to avoid the 32 when he was sideways. But I mean, it 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 just turned out to be a really bad thing for him. So the 65, Ben Pierce is your leader. We will be right back after these messages. And welcome back to the Captain TV IndyCar Series, where Ben Pierce leads 12 laps into the race, followed by Sam Fontaine, Dan Morera, and the green flag is out. Ben Pierce a little delayed on the restart, but here we go. It's a good restart.
With that big run generated, he'll be able to. If he wants to, now there's someone pulling down to take a pass. There's Dan Morera. Probably just got the run, and that's going to be enough of a run. Probably to take him right up to the front there.
It's going to be close. Oh man, yeah, that was huge. That was a huge run into turn 3.
So your top 6 have not stopped. At least that's what my stats are saying. So those guys are going to banking on another caution happening again. And there's a car into the wall and turn at the back at the exit of turn 2. So I'm wondering if we're going to get another yellow there.
84 car, Brighton Hutchings. And that does not look like a yellow. Oh, yes, it is. It is a yellow. I see the pace car moving.
Yep. And so I wonder what happened to him. But now that the top 6, well, it's only been 4 laps or so since the restart. Do they want to, or at least 4 laps or so when the guys that immediately in that group behind them pitted, do they want to pit again? Or they want to maybe gamble once more to see that go without pitting and go with lighter tanks over the people 7th on back?
that was netcode. His teammate Corey Melton drifted up the track a little bit, and I mean that's
That's
a
a bad case of
that's a
netcode.
clear case of netcode.
But what also you have going on there is arrow push. That's where you see the arrow push right on exit. Can't keep the car down on the white line normally where he would have if he was by himself. Car starts pushing
And that
out, and unfortunately his teammates just there in there. He's in the right spot, but he's gonna unfortunately be along for the ride here right about now.
Yep. And I mean, I don't know. That was just that was bad netcode. Actually, that might have been the 20. No, that was the 48. The 48 was following the 23 of Jacob Locklear. Wait. Or Joey Lattiser. Actually, it was the 20. Hang on. I gotta look back at this. Was it the 23 that got up into Brighton? No, it was. Did I go too far? I might have gone too far. Ooh. That was close. Okay, yeah. The 48 was following the 23 and got tight, got that arrow push, and went right up into his teammate.
That's what'll do it. Yep.
That is for sure what happened. What do you? Where are you showing on the replay?
Right now, I'm just you can go ahead. I'll catch up to you. I'll cue off of you
All right.
because that's what everyone is watching from home. So yeah, when you get that in behind that car that close, you lose that that arrow on the front wings, and it's going to cause the car to push. Um, and you need to you got to be cognizant of that first of all, but also anytime you are around your teammate, you just really you guys need to be extra careful. You can't. It's like cardinal sin number one to wreck your teammate, whether it be purposely. Well, it's even worse of a sin if you act on purposely, but accidentally. Because you gotta be really careful around your teammate. And even at this point in the race, when you're 16 laps in, 15 laps in, cracking the throttle, letting them go ahead of you a little bit. And if your teammate needs to slow down to help you come back into the battle so you can catch his draft, you can do that too. There is no reason that you have to be racing at 100% 16 laps into a 250-mile event.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to save your stuff. You don't want to be caught up in a crash early on. And it looks like pace car's about to pull off, maybe, but they haven't. No,
I think,
it's
yeah,
yeah.
what
We're
you would
coming to
see
one
is
to go.
you would see the telltale cue of them starting to line up against the wall to protect the right side from being passed when it goes green. But looks like the top four, Pierce, Moreira, Daniels, and Locklear, are the ones who have not pitted thus far. So they are banking on another caution. And as if you look towards the rear, you're going to see a couple of other cars making the turn to pit road. They are looking to play the long game here. They're going to talk themselves off and see if maybe we can finally get a long green run. And if we do, they'll capitalize. And if they get a caution during that period where they're actually in front while the rest of the pit crews are cycling through, they're going to actually come out ahead on this.
And that would be, I mean, a really spectacular comeback if they're able to get a lap back from this. Because, I mean, IndyCar does not have the free pass rule where they have the wave around where if you don't pit and you end up in front of the leaders, they'll wave you around the pace car until the leader is right behind the pace car. But they don't have a free pass rule where
No.
If you're the first car one lap down, like in NASCAR, you get to pass, or you get your lap back.
No lucky dogs here.
So It's a really special thing if you can come back from 2 laps down.
No,
Really special.
it's happened. Jacques Villeneuve did it in the '95 Indy 500. Got a really ticky-tack penalty for not obeying what to do behind the pace car. They gave him a 2-lap penalty, and then by the end of the race, he's up. And if it wasn't for Scott Goodyear passing the pit car on a late restart, he probably would have finished second in that race, but ended up inheriting the win based upon that and a little someone else's bad luck.
That's
possible.
like I said, it's special. It's something else if you can do it. But looks like we've got top 5 cars: Ben Pierce, Dan Marrera, Luke Daniels, Jacob Locklear, and Scott Wise is the first car out of those on fresh tires, or fresher tires.
Yeah, he's got 7 laps on those. Not going to make too much of a difference until a little bit longer into this run. Right now, everyone's tires are about the same just because they've been under caution for so long. But give these older tires and these lighter tanks a couple of laps, and that will even out. Here comes Luke Daniels on the bottom side there, looking to get a sniff of the lead.
Trying to. Still in 4th place, but working that bottom side just... and on older tires. Didn't you say that the bottom side wasn't the place to be on old tires? Oh, blocking! Robbie Oddie, wow, made a heck of a move. What was that, Gary?
On older tires, you getting down that low is just going to do nothing but probably either get you loose or really slow you down. You could get down there on fresh tires for a couple laps. Obviously, when you're running qualifications, that's the best way around down there. But in the race with 30-lap-old tires down there, probably not the place to be. I think overall the place to be is where you see Luke Daniels now, or you see Dan Marrera now, right there on that high line. You could do a lot on the high line that's not going to be aided by the draft. You're just out.
Oh, we got a spinner. Well, I thought we did. Must have saved it, because that was, I saw some smoke. It also split the field in half. Not sure who that was that fell off, but,
it's a number of people to crack the throttle, and what's going to happen there is that second group loses the draft.
Scott Wise. Scott Wise fell off significantly. He's now 2.7 seconds off the pace. That must have been the car that got sideways there, going off into coming out of turn 2.
Well, that second group is now back up with the first group already, so it doesn't take much to. The draft does an awful lot of the work for you around here.
It's amazing how quickly these cars can suck up to other cars. I mean, you think about it. In stock car racing, those cars put such a huge hole into the air that it should be easy for cars to just overtake them. Once they get to their rear bumper. But it's really not.
Yeah. No.
These cars, it seems a little bit easier, actually. Even though the slipstream is a little thinner.
Right, and the draft envelope is also a little bit shorter as well. I actually did a kind of a wacky race with these cars against the car of tomorrow at iRacing Super Speedway, and these things were catching the car of tomorrow's draft envelope by about 3 seconds out. And they would get a run so much on those guys that they would be on the rev limiter. There's just nothing you could do about it. Interesting thing about the car of tomorrow in that particular race, they could actually draft off these cars, but when it came to pulling down, pulling out, and passing them, especially in the turns, even at the iRacing Super Speedway, they just didn't have the arrow to complete the pass.
Very interesting. Oh, got some front wing there. Saw that coming into turn 3. Looked orange. Wonder whose that was. Maybe Joey Lattiser's? No. car next to him. Who's that?
Definitely need both wings on the front here at this track. Having half a wing, I mean, it'll reduce your drag by half, at least on the front, but it's also going to reduce your downforce by half on the front as well.
Got a rear chase on the 32. I'm still seeing some wings, so maybe that was an iRacing glitch. I don't know, but we got some battling up front. Looks like that's Jacob Locklear, who has pushed his way all the way up to the front of the pack. And wow, Robbie Audi made a heck of a move right there in that 44. That's going to put him in the
going
lead.
into turn 3. Yeah, 3 wide into turn 3, and he did out on the bottom.
Oh, we got a crash.
Yeah, there's a little early to be doing that, and that's what happens.
Jacob Locklear's nose is gone. I can't tell who that was. That Sam Fontaine that got spun? Oh.
Okay, so yeah, what we have there is someone just cutting across the nose of.
And that's a pile up right there. I can't. The 03. Ryan Whitaker.
Yep.
After losing his nose, I mean, so this crash basically was set up by what happened on the front stretch.
Yes.
That was the 83 that got that didn't get sideways. He lost his nose because somebody cut it off. And, actually, the 03 came down into the 48, not knowing he was there.
A couple things happened on this. We had the incident at the start-finish line with Pierce and I think it was Locklear in the blue and white. I think the Team Extreme or whatever I think they're calling themselves. And I think a little bit had to do with Pierce actually misjudging the closing rate and getting into the back of Locklear, pushing him out of the way. I thought for a second that he might have came down on Locklear, or on Pierce, but actually Pierce went into him.
I think that might have been. Who is that in the white car? I need to see a number.
These races are so much harder to do when they're not being done live.
Right, yeah. Did you catch a number on that one? That's the 16. The 16 is Austin Sarr.
Austin Sarr. Okay, that's Austin Sarr. So what? He was in P3 at that particular moment, and what happened is that the
he was in 17th.
Car, was he in 17th? Or was I? Am I looking?
Yeah,
back?
he's 2 laps down.
Was he? Oh, he was lap traffic there. Okay, so he was third on the racetrack, but and again, this is really tough to tell when you have
when it's tape delayed.
Yeah. So what happened is that Pierce, and that's in the Home Depot car, right?
Yes.
He just goes right into him, misjudges the closing rate, and goes right into the back of Czar.
And Jacob Locklear just, I mean, completely innocent bystander, had nothing to do with it. And then you've got the 48, who, and I need to pause because my stream is a little bit runny, or is a little bit low frame rate. And
you had okay, so Melton. Okay, so everybody's kind of slowing down here. Well, not really slowing down. I think everyone might have checked up a little bit because of the incident. And I'm showing. He's on the
Melton
white line.
never,
He had
yeah,
nowhere to go.
he never
He had
came
nowhere to
up.
go.
That was
No.
absolutely the 03 coming down onto him into him.
Yeah. And that's exactly how I see it too, right there, coming into turn 3 and 4. And then Milton's right front magically snaps back into place. But
Yeah,
at this point,
iRacing
they're
damage
back up
model.
to speed again. No caution.
My goodness. So no caution happened at all in this one. And Corey Melton,
31.
it looks like he didn't get any damage. I'm on lap 31. Yeah, coming to 32. So, yeah, 32 going into 1 now.
Yeah, there's going to be a caution here soon, I think.
Oh, there has to be. These guys are on old tires. Things are... Oh, my goodness!
Right in the back. There it is.
What? Was that the 25? Michael Benedict? No. The 74. Zachary Hallinan jumped over somebody. Who was that? The 32 and the 23 are also involved. 32's been involved in a lot of stuff here tonight so far. Not having a good day.
Still seeing a number of guys catching the that apron there.
Just a bad move. The 32 looks like it looks like the 32 took him 3 wide, and I mean that just
code there as well.
Yeah, you can't do that. Who was that was also involved? That was the 23, Joey Ladisser. I mean, that to me seemed like a pretty rookie move. Look at that. And that's had to have brought out a caution. Yeah.
We're gonna get a caution on that one too. So what I see is Joey's down low, down the backstretch now. Yeah, and he gets turned from behind. Chase.
Honestly,
yeah,
that
30.
Was,
yeah, the 32. I don't think. Oh, there's net code there. There's definitely net code there. Yeah, a little wrong place, wrong time for everybody with net code. So, and the thing that you got to consider with Indy cars versus stock cars is that you're going to have more incidents of, and I could be wrong though, but I race IndyCar a lot more than I do any other forum. And when I did do a fair share of truck and Xfinity and Cup and whatnot, I didn't nearly have as many incidents of net code as I did with IndyCar when I drove those by comparison. And I think a lot of that has to do with the speed that these are going and the way that the iRacing collision code kind of makes itself active, so to speak. I think it's actually trying to do some bit of a predictive of what's going on next, and I think it might jump the gun. And I think that's sometimes how you see netcode, and you see it a lot more in IndyCar than you do in some other forms of racing here on the surface.
And I mean, stock cars you can beat and bang a little bit. Netcode doesn't. To that point, netcode doesn't have too much of an effect because even if you do netcode into somebody, you're usually not going to turn them or rip a wheel off or anything like that. Here in IndyCar, that's a regular occurrence.
Yeah, that is. These cars are very, very fragile, and in real life, they're fragile for a reason, because they're meant to shed parts and to shed the impact, to spread the impact out instead of everything being one giant shock to the system. And they do that very well, but part of that makes these cars very much like Legos. One little tap and you're missing a wing, or you're missing a part of the transmit, or you're missing a bit of the your right front A arm. So That's how it is.
Yeah, for sure. So this is one to go. Coming down the back stretch on lap 35. They're letting the pace car go, and we've got some waiver rounds: the 48, the 84, the 23, and the 14, which was your pole sitter, Jacob Gladulich. Um, all took the waiver round, and we'll start at the rear. Um,
And so that Jacob got 1 lap back. So if he gets another wave around, he will be right back at the front, or back on the same lap as the leaders. And that first lap little incident where he got loose there will no longer be an issue.
this race seems to be a race of attrition. Bad moves are being made, and I mean, we'll see if these lap cars kind of trying to drive through the field, if they're going to be able to work their way back up towards the front, because you got a lot of pack racing to go through.
This is even the races, the IndyCar 500 milers back in the 80s, they were big races of attrition. A lot of it had to do mechanically. There were wrecks, of course, but there would be times the 86 Michigan 500 specifically comes to mind, where I think only 6 cars were really on the track at the end. And I think a full field of 33 started that race. But only 6 finished, and the top 2 were on the lead lap. And I think the guy that finished third was like 6 or 7 laps down. As long as you can survive, you'll get a good finish on these tracks. That is for sure. You survive, you'll get a good finish.
Oh, for sure.
But if you're going to sit there and try to race it out early in these races, thinking that you could slug it out, you're going to find yourself probably having an early day of it all.
Yeah, especially with like we were just talking about, especially with how fragile these cars are. You think you think you can make moves? You make one little piece of contact, and your day's pretty much over. Especially
And this track
if
is
there
very
are no
bumpy.
fast repairs.
Yeah, whoa, look at that. And he's putting the leader, actually there, the Home Depot car below the light line there.
Scott
Not giving
Wise
him a
trying
lot
to
of room.
block.
Not giving him a lot of room right there in turn 3.
Yeah, Scott Wise
Gotta
trying to block Ben Pierce there in the 65. Really
you gotta
tight.
be a better competitor than that. You can't necessarily do those type of things.
It's for the, I mean, that's for the safety of these cars. You want to make it to the end of this. Robbie Oddie making moves, trying to make the top work there. But you want to make it to the end of this race, then you've got to race patiently. And that doesn't seem to suit some of these guys very well. Particularly, and I've noticed this, I'm not going to lie, Gary, TI Racing does not necessarily always race patiently.
No, some of them don't, and that's okay. That's a learning process. I decided a long time ago when I started, into surface that in this particular the race iRacing surface is I can't do the sprint thing. I really can't. But I can do the marathon thing, and that means falling back early so I can get myself clear of a situation. That's what I'll do. I have no problem doing that. Looks like we've got a bit of a breakaway right now at the front there with Scott Wise. He's kind of pulled away, which you don't see very often on these type of tracks and these type of races, from second, third, and fourth, as he's got himself about a second. He's got himself right at a second lead. You hardly ever see that here.
And he's breaking away from the draft. He's I saw him just on that lap. He went to the bottom of the backstretch, trying to stay out of the trying to keep everyone behind him out of the draft, and he is really pulling away.
Well, I think you got a lot going on as you got from second on back, or at least second on the racetrack on back, which is Benedetto, Morera, Audi. They're all kind of racing a little bit harder than they probably should be right now. and they're more concerned with each other than they are about the leader. And the leader's kind of breaking away now. This is truly one of the bigger leads I've seen at Fontana in an IndyCar race in quite a long time, to be honest with you. He's got himself right at a second lead, and I don't know. He stopped at lap 33, so he's 10 laps into his current stint. He's right along the same strategy as everyone else around him, so he's not like he's lighter or anything. He's just breaking away.
Oh, some really tight racing between Benedetto, Audi, and Ben Pierce there.
See, that
really close.
Wise was a 33-1, and Pierce, who's P2, is actually a 33 flat. But P3 there, Benedetto, is a 33-2, so he's running faster than third place up at the lead.
And Ben Pierce actually he's starting to break away from even Benedetto in third. So, boy, Audi got real tight on that white line, trying to catch back up. These guys have realized that Scott Wise is pulling away, and now they're trying to get back up to him. And it looks like Ben Pierce all the way up to the back of bumper of the 31.
Yeah. Pierce, you're still within the second, so you got a second and a half for that draft envelope. And remember what I said about the higher line. He used that higher line to run him down.
And there it is. Gonna try to make a pass on him. We'll see if it works here. He's got Benedetto right behind him now. Gonna give him a little bit of a push. Arrow push, a little, obviously, not a real push.
Push in an IndyCar does exist, but it's not as much as you get with that big bumper of air that they get to push on you from a stock car point of view. Yeah, you'll get a slice of air kind of being pushed on you, so to speak.
Yeah, because of that front wing.
Right.
But Ben Pierce still side by side with Scott Wise. Benedetto gonna stick with that. Oh, he's taking him three wide.
That is not a smart move right there, because that put the leader down to the apron, almost caused the wreck right there. You could have easily caused a 3-car wreck right there by that little move. I know you get the run, and some people goes, well, I have the run, I had to take it. Just roll out of it, catch yourself back up. So there's still 3 wide going to turns 3 and 4. It's pushing the leader back down to the apron again. That almost caused another wreck. Okay, now we're a little bit more organized. Now back to 3 wide.
Gotta think about this strategically. You're racing for the lead, yes, but it's on lap 48.
I'll give credit to Wise. He caught the apron at least twice and caught himself and avoided a wreck. But sending them 3 wide anytime, just because you got the run, doesn't mean you can and should. Should I go? No. Can I go? Yes.
And this has brought the entire this 3 wide racing brought the entire rest of the pack with them. So
and we are looking at a possibility of 4 wide going to the turn right here, as we got the 44 way up top, and he's going to get a massive run off this corner, and he's going to take the lead by the time they're down the backstretch.
Wow. Robbie Audi from 4th place, crossing the line all the way to the lead, and here comes Benedetto right back to the front. And he actually clears him this time going into the corner. Scott Wise cuts off Robbie Audi. He's going to get back in the slipstream, side by side once again. Where's Robbie Audi going to go?
An aggressive move in the back there. He's kind of got to hold you. That's the other thing that you really got to learn when you race the Indy cars, is just hold your line. You will upset a veteran IndyCar driver to no end if you're someone in front of him who just weaves back and forth. That is, there is no danger in these cars. They're sim cars, right? Here we go. We got them coming across the start-finish line here. A lot of close together here.
Yeah, they're in a really tight pack here. I can just see a caution happening here pretty soon.
Yeah, you will anger a veteran IndyCar driver to no end if you just weave in front of them, and you will be flagged as dangerous. So want to hold your line as much as possible, and that will help everybody behind you. But if I'm going to go from lane 1 to lane 3 by just flicking my wrist, that's going to anger a lot of people.
And I mean, the same kind of thing happens in NASCAR. You get stock
Oh,
car drivers all kinds of mad when at a super speedway when you cannot hold a line. You go into the corner and you drift up a lane, even a half a lane. A veteran stock car driver will get mad.
yeah.
So it's the same kind of thing. Benedetto looks like he's trying to pull a side draft maneuver with an Indy car.
And it
Surely
doesn't work.
that's not going to turn out
No,
well.
no, it is not a thing here, and you do not want to get close. And that is why, right there, you do not want to get close.
Oh, and they took each other out. I almost said De Benedetto. That's the entire field. That is the entire field that Benedetto just caused to wreck. Trying to side draft. You can't side draft in an Indy car.
Doesn't exist in the Indy cars, and so what happened there is we just get a little close, and it doesn't take much. And there was no net code on that one. There was actual contact on that one. Um, and again, it's a bit early to be
Oh my
doing that.
goodness.
So this is just one of those things where next time all these guys are in the same situation, they're going to chalk it up in their mind. I've seen this before. Am I going to, do I want to engage the group? Do I want to fall back a little bit? But right now, we got a lot of damaged cars trying to make their way back to the pits.
All right, so side by side, really tight. And he just gets too close. Scott Wise loses a little bit, and I mean, that takes out some really good cars. The 65 got caught up in it, the 44, Robbie Oddie, the 31 and 25, obviously.
And the one out of this, I mean, I'm from a defensive point of view. Like, what would I do if I'm in this particular situation? Okay, if I'm Scott Wise, I got nowhere to go because I got guys behind me that are in my draft that are tearing me down. That if I crack the accelerator, I'm probably going to start a wreck here. Uh, I'm looking. I'm going to need the help of the guy on the inside of me to help me race safely here. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to push me up into that wall to take away my turning radius in the one, so he could get the better, line into one and out of one and get the lead down the backstretch. That's ultimately what he's trying to do there, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I also need that driver on the inside to watch my back a little bit because he needs to give me room in order for me to at least survive a little bit and not maybe crack the throttle or give me a little bit of extra room or something. Even though, again, you're racing against these people, you kind of got to rely on these guys to help you get through an entire race by everybody making smart moves.
Nowhere to go for Ben Pierce. Just watched his viewpoint. Um, gonna look at.
Daniels made a big surviving move. He drove all the way down to the apron. Watch this, as you see clearly in front of him, everything is happening.
Yeah.
Go ahead and run the footage here. He's like, okay, where do I go? And he hits that apron. He's on the brakes. He's rapidly slowing down. But what happened here is he managed to keep it on the apron and not get back up on that banking, because probably what would have happened if he would have clipped the banking is he would have been then going up into the wall at that point. So great car control on his part to make it through all that. And that keeps him on the lead lap, and I believe now up into the top three, if I'm not mistaken. Top four, top five for sure.
On board with Scott Wise here as I let my sim catch back up with me. They've already made contact, and around he goes like a top. Oh boy. It just makes you sick in more ways than one.
And get pinning blame on anybody here. I mean, they'll have race control, and that's what they'll end up doing. And from my point of view, is just everybody's got to help each other a little bit, give each other a little bit of extra room, give each other a little extra space, help each other to make the end of this race. Otherwise, I mean, it will be a kart race like the '80s where you only have 6 people finishing.
So, looks like we've got pit stops. Um,
Yes, everyone's going to be making pit stops here. It's about 30 laps for 33 laps or so for a stint here at the 100% fuel. In the draft, and if you tune down the engine mapping, you can maybe go 35, 36. But that's about it. I don't think you're going to make as many as 40. Um, uh, that would be kind of pushing it. Now that's on a long green run. Of course, if you get these yellows involved, you can stretch those runs out. Of course, some of the people, especially on some of their stints in the middle of the race, I'm looking at Jacob on his. Even though he stopped like 4 or 5 times, that his 5th stint he did 36 laps. So some of that was under caution, and when you get some of that caution under your belt, that helps elongate getting closer to that magic 40 number. But if you ever make it to 40 and you're not on anything but engine map 8, you must have a magic foot made of fuel.
Made
it looks
of
like
fuel.
what happened to
what happened to Luke Daniels here? What
did we have maybe a moment where our wheel or VR are disconnected? Because that's what it looks like.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Because I mean, he just turned dead left straight into the inside wall. That's an unfortunate moment for Luke Daniels. He
just put himself up to the top 5.
Yeah, he made it through that crash, and all of a sudden he finds himself wrecked coming into pit road.
You imagine you're making it through the big melee, and then your computer decides, well, you belonged in it anyway. So
you're gonna be part of that wreck, whether you're part of it or not.
And it's right in front of Dan Marrera, too. He's seen his fair share of action. Poor Dan, he was just sitting back there in 4th spot, doing exactly what he said he would do. He's like, I'm just going to ride this thing out. Maybe in hindsight, he could think about, maybe it's a little bit closer to the front than I really wanted to be. But really, that's an anywhere on the field type of wreck that could have happened anywhere. It just happened to be at the front that time.
Yeah, for sure. So got a few cars that had to use their fast repair. Obviously, Scott Wise, Luke Daniels, Ben Pierce, all of those guys. Very, very fast race cars that had to go ahead and head down pit road. And somebody, that Daniels that's in front of Pierce there? Or is that, I can't tell who that is.
On screen, you got Daniels getting ready to hit the wall there.
Joey Latta, sir.
Okay.
He's got no nose on that car. Just trying to limp it around to get back to pit road. But we're about to take the green flag. Well, not quite. So actually, it looks like we've still got another lap to go. We are going to take you side by side to watch the damage get repaired, guys. we will be right back after these messages. We are a for-hire broadcaster. If you would like us to stream your league, contact DayPaulB661 on Discord, member number 1015. Thank you, and enjoy the race. Welcome back, everyone, as the pace car is getting ready to leave the racetrack and allow Robbie Audi and Sam Fontaine to lead the field to the green. Green flag is out. Robbie Audi, little delayed.
Oh, Robbie gets a good jump, though.
Yeah. I think he was waiting for Sam Fontaine to not be expecting him to go at that point. And
He's already breaking the draft, going down to the bottom, coming back up to the top. So he's already working on that. The thing is, though, he's still a sitting duck. I mean, he can try to break that draft as much as he wants, and probably by the time he gets to the end of the backstretch, Fontaine's going to be right back there. So when you get those big jumps on restarts, all you do, I mean, it's just like stock car racing. It just allows that car in second to get a big run on you.
Corey Melton drifting up the racetrack, almost got into Jacob Locklear there. I think
Check out Dan Marrero. He's a lap down now in 7th spot. He was one of those cars, one of the innocent bystanders, using that high line and running down his teammate now. Hopefully he's already talking to his teammate saying, hey, Lane, I got to run in the, I need to get the lap back, and his teammate's going to let him go. Probably that's what happened right there. And now he just needs to get a yellow, and he's right back in the middle of things.
Same with Corey Melton. He's right there trying to get one of his 2 laps back. He was one of those cars that took the wave around 2 cautions ago, but it's amazing how the timing of that big crash worked out, because all of those cars that took the wave around, they were on pit road when that big wreck unfolded, so they didn't get a chance to actually take advantage of that caution.
Here's Wise again in that 3 with the flames on the side. He's back up into the battle here.
Got Wise back to the front pack, trying to catch Robbie Audi and Sam Fontaine there.
I've noticed a lot of the guys here are not shifting. Just looking at Robbie Adi's in-car, and he had it planted on 6th gear, and 6th gear is really, you use 6 gears for 2 things. You use 6th gear to conserve fuel when you're in a lower engine map, and you use 6th gear to pull out and pass when you get into the draft. You don't really use 6th gear all the way around this track very often, if at all, and he's been in 6th gear the entire way around.
Wow, that's quite interesting.
See, here's Wise in 6th gear. He should be in 6th gear in the draft, and then he pulls out and passes.
See if he drops down to 5th.
I don't think he's going to pass. He should be down in 5th right now without a car in front of him.
What's he going to do here and going into the corner?
Looks
like he's staying in 6th.
Yeah, he's going to stay in 6th. I've seen people go as low as 4th there. So riding it out in 6th gear. Interesting.
Very. As Corey Melton. Oh, Robbie Audi gets into Corey Melton.
Okay, so they all kind of roll out of it and kind of regather themselves. But in the meantime, that allows Marrero and Wise to kind of hook up and pull away just slowly there. Marrera's going to pull on the high side, take that high side around. Remember, I said the high side is the OP line here. He will get a run and probably pull alongside Wise going down the backstretch without the aid of the draft, just because of momentum and horsepower on the high side. There you go.
Wow. And here comes Melton back to the inside. Robbie Audi going to keep him real tight. And Melton is fighting to try to get his lap back. I'm not. You don't want to cause a crash with the leaders.
No.
You're a lap car.
You do not want to be. Yeah, you do not want to be that guy. Now, okay, look, a lap car, a lap down, or in this case, I'm looking at Marrero. He has every right to stay on the lead lap. He's going to race these guys like it's 4 position because it is to stay on the lead lap. Now, if he falls back 8, 9 cars and he's battling people back there just as hard, and he's a lap down and he's battling other people that are on a lap ahead of him, probably not good racing etiquette at that point. But right now, in his current situation, being that he is the first car now a lap down, or as soon as he passes the leader, the first car that's not the last car on the lead lap, he has every right to race this hard. Now, someone that's maybe 2 laps down, that's wanting to try to maybe get a lap back,
Corey Melton, for example.
Racing that hard might anger the guys around you a little bit. Probably what you want to do is just, maintain connection with this group and kind of ride it out and see what happens. But you don't want to race the leader being 2 laps down, knowing that at best you're only going to get a lap back, if that.
But once you get that lap back, puts you in a good position to get that second lap back, which, as you said before, it's been done before where you can come back and win it from 2 laps down. And we've seen enough cautions that it's very much possible here tonight. Do I think it'll happen? No, I don't. But it's possible.
See, right there, that move right there, and again, nothing against Corey Melton in the 48. Taking it 3 wide as a lap car against 2 cars on the lead lap, fighting for position, that would have probably angered me a little bit as a driver right there. Just that was probably not necessary.
And we might see some retaliation, maybe not in the form of contact on the track, but maybe in aggressive driving with Corey Melton because of that move from Robbie Oddie. I don't know if Scott Wise is his teammate. I think Corey Melton and Scott Wise are going to give each other a lot of respect. But Robbie Oddie on TI Racing, I can't imagine he'd be too happy with
no, and he
Melton.
has 2 of his other teammates up there with him. He's got Morera, and he's also got who else up is in that the red car that's third in line there. Can't see a number on it. It's a 13. Or is it?
Which one? Where at?
It's the car immediately behind Audi.
I think that's the 03. No,
03,
not the
okay.
03. He is out of the race. The 83. I don't know where the 80.
Oh, that's Jacob Locklear. Yeah, so that's Locklear and 83.
Okay.
So that he's a teammate. So they're going to try to work together here. Now Locklear is also 2 laps down, so there's only so much he can do etiquette-wise before someone else around him saying, "Hey, man, you're 2 laps down. Get the heck out of the way."
Right. I don't know. The guys, they really do have every right to fight for position on the track. It just kind of tears you apart, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, definitely and typically how it goes, and as we talk about IndyCar rules and IndyCar etiquette, when it comes to IndyCar rules and IndyCar etiquette, that car that's getting ready to go a lap down off the lead lap or trying to get back onto the lead lap, that car has every right to race the leaders or anybody else around him as hard as he can to kind of maintain that position. It's when you start getting into the cars that are 2 and 3 laps down, now we're kind of into a gray area because we don't have the lucky dog. We don't, you got to get yourself in a position to put yourself in a position to be even waved around. So a guarantee, a wave around's not even a guarantee that you're putting an awful lot of other cars that are racing on the lead lap that are legit in for a position for a win, or what I would call a points paying position. You're putting a lot of those other guys at risk just because you kind of want to hang around at the front to see maybe if you can get a lap back of 2 that you're down. So it's kind of falling in that gray area. It's, again, one of those things you kind of learn. And this is kind of this is a league that is kind of setting up for folks to kind of learn that type of thing. But really, if he was in a official IndyCar upper split and he would and someone would be 2 laps down racing the leaders, you'd be really pissing off the leaders a whole lot.
Do you think that would be protest worthy?
No, not really, because I don't think you're doing anything. Protest would be saying you're doing something against the rules. It's kind of like the unwritten rules of baseball, right? When you hit a home run, you don't watch it. You kind of run it off, and if you do watch it, expect the batter up next to get hit by the pitch. That type of thing. Kind of here in IndyCar racing too is, if I'm 2 laps down, I'm gonna kind of hang around, but I'm gonna not hold the guys up around me, so to speak. Uh, he's doing. Locklear's not really doing anything against the rules, and neither is Ben Pierce doing anything against the rules. It's just kind of one of those etiquette things.
Well, Dan Morera and Corey Melton are the two racing ahead of Scott Wise and Rabbiati and Sam Fontaine. Looks like Morera just lost his lap again. He's obviously been fighting for that spot for the past 10 laps or so.
Yeah.
So he's probably not going to go anywhere. And Corey Melton, it looks like Scott Wise is just content to let Corey Melton right in front of him. As his teammate, that's understandable.
If they're teammates and kind of what's got going on there, if that's the case, I would say they're kind of setting them up for to extend that fuel mileage.
Gladulich.
Yeah, got a slower car, got involved there, and they drafted right up on him and then drafted right around him. He looked like he's down on power a little bit. He's down and out of the way. Now, This is dangerous right there. Rabbiati doing something kind of dangerous. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to get that draft off that car in front of him. I was a victim. Oh, I know.
That was close.
If you go back to Jacob Locklear's in-car, you hear Jacob actually roll out of the throttle when he saw that. You kind of hear the engine kind of do that little burp sound. Now, there was a race here in the TI series that I was in. I was coming up the speed. I was coming down the backstretch, up the speed, and there was a car coming off of turn 2, and he decided he wanted to use me to try to draft and get a slingshot around me when he was already up the speed. He didn't need to do that, and misjudged it and ran into the back of me and ruined my day. That is a bit of a dangerous move, catching a draft off a slower car like that. It's best just to let that slower car maintain their line and stay the heck out of the way.
Yeah, and in that case, the slower car just has nothing to do with the crash. It's just maybe not necessarily a poor move by the person that's going faster, but
they got an EOL out of it. I was sure to report that to race control. I was like, that's going to be an EOL. I don't care what you say. That's avoidable contact by every definition.
Well, one thing I want to make note of, Jonathan Thomas just got back onto the racetrack here. We have several cars that are pretty much either out of the race or out of contention for sure. And that would be the 13th place, if I can talk. Come on, Alan. From 13th place all the way back to 19th. Mike Hasty in the 72 is out of the session. Michael Benedetto is still working on repairs in the 14th. Jonathan Thomas, like I just said, 28 laps down in 15th place in that 32 car. Austin Sarr,
but he's getting ready to pass Benedetto, who's sitting they're both 28 laps down, I believe, together. So he will be making up a position, I believe, here in the next lap or so. I could be wrong.
And they still have a chance to get by Mike Hasty as well, who will not be coming back onto the racetrack. Austin Sarr in 16th place. He's still working on repairs. I think he's pretty much done for the session. Ryan Whitaker is out. Charles Baldwin is out. And Isaac Morris never even got the race started. $43 laps left in this race. Corey Melton still trying to keep his lap with Scott Wise as your leader. Just kind of trying to push him up keep him up there towards the front. And
And a
Robbie
lot of these
Adi.
guys got some fuel, actually pit stops here coming up here probably within the next 10 laps or so. So we might see green flag pit stops here finally.
30 laps into this run. But Robbie Adi and Sam Fontaine trying to keep up. Not sure if they're just kind of comfortable.
Oh, and
Wow,
there's
there goes
someone.
Yeah, that was the 48, Corey Melton.
Okay,
Jumps
so
down to
he's
pit
been
road.
on. He was 31 laps on that current stint, so he made a really aggressive move to get down there on pit road, and now that leaves the door open for his teammate to kind of be by themselves out there, along with a bunch of TI guys and Fontaine are all in that top group of 5.
Sam Fontaine.
looks like Morera is trying to get to the bottom to get to the pits. Yeah, exactly what's going on there. He's coming into the pits, so that's not going to help his campaign to get back on the lead lap.
And these guys are really hoping big time that there's not a caution while they're on pit road, because they're going to get lapped, and if there's another caution, that's just going to put them in a really bad situation. But looks like Scott Wise is pretty much by himself right now. Robbie Adi running the very top side.
He's coming in there. There's a green flag pit stop happening.
Yep, Scott Wise, your leader.
That's kind of when you pray that nothing goes wrong when you're on pit road.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to fall a lap down. Joey Ladouceur is also right behind him on pit road. Both of these cars are lead lap cars.
Looks like I see that Sam's got the sponsorship for the ESRA IndyCar series on the side, so he might do some other racing in some IndyCar series, which kind of would explain why he's able to kind of put some distance on some of these other guys.
You think it's the livery?
Well, I think experience matters. Experience matters. I was kind of surprised to see him running in sixth gear as long as he was, but sometimes that's a comfort thing. When I'm driving, I'm down to fourth, I'm down to fifth, I'm in sixth when I need to pass somebody, but that's kind of about it on this type of oval. But some people prefer just to keep it in one notch and go. So his experience is telling him to keep it in one notch and go. So he's back up to speed, and he's trying to run down the group that just put him down a lap, and hoping that no one causes a caution at this point.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like they're kind of single filing out. They're just taking it easy. Perhaps maybe saving fuel. But it's really tough to tell with these guys who's trying to run hard and who's not, to be quite honest.
We got Daniels, Fontaine, Adi, and Pierce. Pierce just made the turn on the pit road. He went 34 laps. So we got Daniels, Fontaine, and Adi now at 35 laps on their current stint. Remember I said it'd probably be a long shot to see them make it to 40, but they're definitely in the window where I would expect all these guys to be making immediate stops within the next lap or two. And really, the way that they're lining up, I think Daniels and Fontaine are coming in this time around.
Yeah, they went straight to the bottom here, so I'm thinking we're gonna see them on pit road. So here they are, all five of them coming down pit road.
Luke!
Oh, Luke spins it and backs it,
and he's gonna get at least and he's gonna go right to toe. He's going to get at least a black flag for unsafe entry and possible speeding right there. So that's going to pretty much ruin his day. But it did not collect Adi, did not collect Fontaine, who were the two cars on the lead lap making their runs down to their stalls right now.
And it did not collect Locklear either, who is a lap down.
So here comes your leader, Wise, who is going to come out well ahead of P2 and P3. This is going to be a big lead. And He has a car that he can run with. Now, that car is a TI car.
He's also got his teammate right there in front of him.
Well, if he can connect with his teammate, that's one thing. If I'm a TI car, I'm not cooperating with this guy.
At the same time, maybe Wise just kind of smartly leaves them both in front of him.
That'd be a good play.
catches
Good
a
play.
toe from both cars.
Because definitely both cars want to be in front of him. That's exactly where they want to be.
Yeah.
He's going to go 3 wide here in the turn 3 as the
Oh!
leader. You
No,
don't
he
want to
backs
do
out
that,
of it.
man.
He backed
No,
out of
yeah,
it.
don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. There's no need. But it is holding them up. It is legit holding him up as Fontaine is now 4.5 seconds back, and he's slowly reeling 3 wide going into 1. Ooh.
This is a risky play by your leader, Scott Wise, who is, I mean, at least 3/4 of a straightaway in front of Sam Fontaine in that 77 in second.
Yeah, there's a lot of risk going on here.
Yeah. I would say just run down the laps. You do not want to get wrecked at this point in the race, especially when you're so far ahead.
Yeah, and it's going to be, if they go, let's see, he stopped 7 laps ago, so he stopped at 87. Will we need another stop here? Let's see real quick. I think we might. We'll see.
Yeah, we're going to need another pit stop.
Take out the old calculator.
Because they ran, what, 36 laps on that last set? I think Scott Wise came in a little bit early.
Well, then he did the under, and that's probably what's helping him right now. He is looking at maybe lap 120 if you go about 33 laps under green. I would be wanting to plant myself behind these other cars and make that run last as long as possible. But he is the man in the lead, so we're going to defer to his experience here. But it is going to be close. If there's a late caution here, that's going to make sure everybody finishes as is. But if there's no late caution, we run to the green. It's going to be close. It's going to be real close.
And one thing I want to make note here, Sam Fontaine and Rabbiati running single file, staying behind a lap car. I think that's Dan Morera, or no?
That's the other green car. Morera's up with the leaders right now, but
Yeah,
they are
right.
doing this smart gamble right now. Look, there's now 4 of them all lined up at the top.
Yeah, they're just riding. They're saving fuel, saving their stuff for the end, and trying to. It looks like they're trying to just make it to the end. Scott Wise, he's full throttle. He's not trying.
Well, I mean,
which strategy might play out?
It doesn't matter how you get to the end. It just matters how how fast you get there. Just how you get there sometimes. So, yeah, they're all way at the top of the. Ooh. They are definitely, you can hear them rolling out. They are conserving. They are rolling out of the throttle. I'd love to get inside Robbie's cockpit here and take a look and see. He is half throttle in 6th gear.
And Brighton Hutchings was that lap car that they were riding behind. He's also teammates with Corey Melton and Scott Wise. So he jumped out of that.
He saw that he was being used, and he's like, "Nope, you're not using. No, you're gonna have to."
He did not want to use them, or did not want to be used.
Yeah. If you're gonna use me as a tow that bad, you're gonna have to pay for it. But yeah, normally 6th gear, you're gonna see every single one of those lights lit up across the top of his steering wheel there, and
especially in the draft.
They are not going to go all the way. You'll see him just get into the orange, and then they'll kind of dip down a little bit. And he's also in the draft. So this is going to be a fuel mileage race,
smoke. The 14 sped on pit road, it looks like.
Yeah, he came in awfully hot. You could kind of see him locking up the brakes, and some puffs of smoke happening there. So he got caught by the policeman there.
Jacob Gladulich, after winning the pole for this race, is not having a good race.
It
definitely
wouldn't be the
not
first
having a
time.
good day.
It wouldn't be the first time that someone won the poll and had a bad day after that. I've been there too, so I feel your pain, man.
Yeah. So Scott Wise,
Scott
he's
Wise is now conserving. I'm watching his in car, and he is in sixth gear, and he's not going to 100% throttle. So they are trying to ride this thing out.
well, at this point, you're so far ahead of the rest of the leaders. Maybe you do just run. I mean, try to lap them, because that's going to be your only way. You haven't really had enough of a chance to save the fuel, or you haven't saved the fuel for long enough now to where you can make it to the end. So maybe he tries to lap them all, and
Well,
and
Dan
then
Marrera is going to
pits.
make it. Dan Marrera is definitely going to make it very tough for them. He is riding the high side in fifth gear. He is not conserving fuel. He is being teammate car now, where he's making it tough for these guys to pull away and make an easy go of it.
Yeah, for sure. And he's pushing. Maybe that might play into their strategy. With him pushing the pace, with him staying in that draft, maybe he is making them faster. And if they want to try to go for, because Scott Wise is a half a lap ahead now.
Yeah,
Maybe
they
if they
are
want to try to catch the rest of the
19
leaders.
seconds. They are 19 seconds ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah, but even if being that far ahead, even if he hits pit road for a stop, he's still going to lose the lead.
right, right. So you want to make up so much time that if you make a pit stop, you're going to come out with the leaders instead of wait really far behind them. Maybe that's what
And
he's trying
also,
to do.
I don't think Corey Milton is going to be able to stay out as long as his teammate. Because remember, Milton pitted about 2 laps earlier last time.
Right, right. That's true. And here comes Morera, making it 3 wide. Scott Wise gonna smartly back out of that.
Now, Jacob Locklear has got up in front of this group, being a lap down. So they're going to strategically use the car that's 2 laps down, not in play,
And
and
it's a
they're going
team
to
car.
use him to pull them all around. But you could really hear them now. They are going through the corners mid 205s, hitting the start finish line at 211. I mean, normally you're hitting the turn one at about 230, 225, 230, somewhere in there, and they're nowhere near that number. So everyone is praying for a fuel number.
Just absolutely incredible. And to think,
P3, looking at Joey there, he was at 2/3. He was only at a third throttle on sixth gear. His lights were barely lit up across the start of the top of his steering wheel. So he's even in more conserve mode.
and that's because he's in that tow. He's using the draft, and it's a lot like a plate race. And well, we say plate race. They're not using restrictor plates anymore. In stock car racing, where you can dive in behind somebody and just use them to save fuel. And that's the leaders behind. That's Scott Wise and the 2 lap cars that just came into view coming out of turn 3. These guys are going that slow to where Scott Wise might just be able to catch them.
Well, they got who's also another group. Luke Daniels has joined that group. He's run them down. He's flat out just run them down. He is currently in P10, so he is not in contention for the win, but he is definitely in a contention for a front row spot to watch things as they unfold. These guys at the end of the front stretch, that time Wise 217 at the end of the front stretch, as they are now 26 seconds. So they're about 6 seconds away from lapping this next group that's running in P2, 3, and 4.
This is just crazy.
You do
What?
not see this very often at Fontana or Michigan ever. Not in current modern day IndyCar racing, or at least when they raced here last.
Yeah, this strategy, there are definitely two very different strategies going right here. One strategy, you're going really, really slow. And in the other strategy, you're trying your darndest to catch them. Corey Melton blinking a little bit of connection issues there.
Melton at sometime in the next 6 laps or so, maybe a little bit longer. We'll see, because he's kind of toned it down. That he might make.
Ooh,
whoa! Right
that was
across the
tight.
nose of your teammate. They could also be playing leapfrog here too. I'm not sure. Nope, here he comes. He is going to make his move now. We knew he couldn't make it. He's got to pit right now.
Get those fresh tires on, and hopefully.
I don't think fresh tires is going to play much of a role as just fuel at this point.
That's true. Maybe, just maybe, he might be able to catch the rest of those guys, or the rest of the those guys that are saving fuel, because they're going to pass him. I mean,
here they come.
Yeah,
they're making the pass right now. And so is he going to even take any tires? No, he's going to take tires. So the car went up on jack, so he's going to take new tires. Where he really only needed to splash and go. So he's banking on those new tires are going to play a role here. But when you're talking a track temp of 66 and an ambient of 78, new tires really aren't going to buy you much speed.
No.
And did he speed on pit road?
I think he sped on pit road.
Then this race is over.
Oh, man. That was going to be so interesting.
So now we go back up to the front where you got Robbie Ottey, who just lit his teammate by. Oh, we got a car into the wall. I don't know if that's going to get a yellow. That looked like it might have been Luke, or someone was in the wall.
It doesn't look like Luke Daniels has any damage.
Okay, so we definitely had a car into the wall. Wasn't sure. Oh, he's gone to the inside, so maybe
he's gone to the
enough.
apron.
Okay, Dan cannot go the distance. He has to stop. We got a whole bunch of cars coming in that time, one of which is, I think, due to damage. So now I think it's coming down to Ottey, Joey, and Fontaine. They're going to be the three that are going to shoot it out here.
And it really is going to be a shootout. 12 laps to go. Can they make it on fuel? And if they can, which one of them is going to win?
I think they are all critically low. And at this point, I don't even think a single one of them wants to race each other. I think Ottey wants Locklear to stay in that middle lane and just let me stay behind you. Those other two are going to stay right behind him, and you probably won't see a race to the finish until about 2 to go. You can hear them physically. You can hear them physically on the racetrack. They sound like they're coming up to speed, like they're coming out of the pit when they're actually racing for the win.
Those two cars on the inside that are a lap down, they are more than likely just going to pull away from them. I mean, there goes Melton. Watch him just drive away.
Yeah, Morera, same way. Although Morera might think about hanging back and helping out a teammate. He's in a position where he can do it.
And to think those two are where Scott Speed would have been. Scott Speed had this race won, but he sped on pit road. Man.
Yeah, he's probably kicking himself right there. And I've been there. I've kicked myself numerous times by speeding on pit road when you put yourself in contention. So now they're starting to get a little racy in the back here.
Well, if they get too racy, they might use up too much fuel.
If you had Winston Cup car or stock cars on this track, they'd be racing at about the same speed as these guys right now. They are now doing all under 200 miles an hour.
Wow. That's so slow for an Indy car.
They got to be on engine map 8. They got to just be like, I got 8 laps to go. I got to just somehow figure a way to get a car across. They are all at a crawl snail pace right now. 194 at the end of the backstretch.
23.
190 mid-corner.
This is just amazing.
I mean, if these were Indy cars in the mid 70s, that'd be about their speeds right now at their speeds. These are modern 21st century Indy cars at less than
Capable of
200
going
miles per hour.
230 miles an hour.
So you see that time Fontaine tried to take the high line around Audi. Audie's using his teammate, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now you have Pierce who just decide, you know what, I'm going to go for it. He is taking that low line, and he thinks maybe the calculations have worked, so he's going to take that Home Depot car to the front.
See if he's full throttle. Looks like he's at least pretty close if he's not already full throttle.
Well, he's definitely faster that time around, 205, 206. So I think now he's 210, 211. So now they decided, guys, gloves are off. Racing.
Yeah, for sure. And here comes Scott Speed trying to get a lap back. And it looks like he's going to succeed.
Yeah, he'll just cruise on by.
Really, really unfortunate to see that 31 car. I mean, a lap down.
But now he can play a role in the finish if he just stays here, because I think Pierce is going to try to use him to get through these next 5 laps.
It's possible. It's very possible. Question is, has Pierce, did he go too early? Rabbiati still sitting there behind him and his teammate of Jacob Locklear.
Yeah, I would imagine Locklear probably with a lap or 2 to go is going to get out of the way and let his teammate go. But right now they might just tell Locklear to turn up the wick and say, "Go, man, go," and bring your teammate with you. Right there, look at that group now, all 2x2 going into turns 3 and 4.
Yep, Sam Fontaine gonna take Audie's try to take Audie's position there. Second place, a little bit of a change right there. 4 laps left in this race. Who's gonna end up with the fuel strategy to win it? They are actually Locklear's all over the place just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm thinking at some point Locklear probably should either try to pull his teammate to the front or duck out of the way at this point. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's kind of pulling his teammate to the front here, bringing him into 1, and you got a new leader into 1.
Rabbiati to the lead, following his teammate.
And pulling away.
These guys, looks like they're still maybe trying to save fuel, but Rabbiati is saying, nope, we're good to go. Let's go. 3 laps left.
Yeah, 2:15 that time through turns 3 and 4.
Sam Fontaine trying to catch back up.
Yeah, he pops out to not necessarily block, but just to beat Fontaine a little bit. He's worked his way around his teammate now, so I think they decided to do exactly what I thought they would. The teammate would get out of the way when it comes time to race this for the win. So here we go, back down the backstretch, side by side.
And they are
Fontaine
neck and neck.
Fontaine way up to the wall there. Fontaine now trying to find, now we're breaking the draft.
Coming to 1 lap to go. Rabbiati leads this race by over Sam Fontaine by about half a second. Ben
That's
Pearson
right
third.
now.
He has lost the pack. We got a little bit of smoke coming out of turn 2.
Now we got a little bit of, all right, so I see what they're trying to do. Break
it's tight!
And they broke the front wing there, and he's going to get the win here. Breaking the draft. That can be that is on the gray area of being slightly protestable. That could be blocking on the final lap. And yeah, he's letting Yeah, they're
Oh
both
yeah.
not very happy with that finish. So if you go back on the replay to that last lap, and I can tell you exactly of kind of what's going on. IndyCar, you're not allowed to block, unlike in some other forms of racing where there really is no rules. You need to make your way around me, past me. That's how you do it. In IndyCar racing, you're allowed one defensive move. If you make another defensive move based upon an offensive move by the car behind you after you've made your one defensive move, that is now blocking. And I believe we saw that definitely on the backstretch coming to take the checkered flag. So you might want to, we could replay that last lap again and we could probably talk through it. But I'm pretty sure that that's in the gray, we might be in the gray area of blocking there on that final lap.
Yeah, ooh, it was close, but Robbie Adi doing his burnouts. Did not celebrate for very long though. So we will go ahead and take a look at what really happened there. And I'm gonna far chase it.
Yeah, let's take us back with a lap to go.
Oh, that's not quite. And turn off the standings banner. So going into turn one, obviously Audi has the lead, and
so he's there's a defensive move. That's another defensive move.
trying to
That's
break
another
the
defensive
draft.
move. That's another defensive move. But see, when he made that move, if you roll back a little bit further and see if we can take it from one of the camera angles where we're watching the cars coming down the straight together, you'll see that once his move as a defensive move instigates, causes another move. See, as the car reacts, and then the car in front reacts to the car behind. The car in front cannot do that.
And you see right there, makes a bit of a block. And Sam Fontaine doesn't know quite where to go until it's already too late. So
I'm not
weaving.
sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm got to go back into. Uh, uh, I think there was actually a ruling on the blocking, and
Oh,
I think I have to look it up to be sure, but I think there might have been a ruling and penalty issued on the blocking, but I believe there was blocking ruled on that last lap. Um, I just cannot find. After reviewing it, the league has voted that 44 Robbie Audi made a block on the 77 of Fontaine going into turn three. After a similar move had happened in Watkins Glen, we decided it's best to make Audi give the spot to Fontaine. Now it's not the ideal way to make a win or make this happen. However, I'm all about consistent ruling. So tonight the win goes to Sam Fontaine.
wow.
P2 is now P1 as a result of that block down the and that's kind of what I was saying when I saw it. I was like, uh, and I vaguely remembered. I had to go back and look, but the reaction made it pretty clear that that was a block on the backstretch to me. And that's probably the right ruling from race control. That would be a penalty under any other normals. I don't really can't think of any situations where a win has been taken away. So that's pretty severe in itself right there. It could have been something where I think in the past where IndyCar and even stock car has done it where you keep the win, but maybe not the points or something like that, or you keep the win and you maybe go on probation for the remainder of the year or something like that. But never I really seen a win get taken away. Well, they decided to take the win away on as a result of that one. So your winner is that number 77 car who kind of kept it at the front all day today. I don't know if he was caught in any of the big ones, but he played a smart race and played it right down to the very bitter end where it came down to who had the last few drops in that fuel tank in order to make it down to that last lap.
And so because we don't have any, because we don't, uh, this is a tape delay. We're not gonna have any post race interviews. But because of this move right here, Sam Fontaine with no front wing on the right side will win this race, and Rabiati gets second place.
Yeah, he at least lost a position. I believe. I don't
I
think
think he's
he was
second.
penalized. Didn't only. I don't think he was penalized any more than just a position. Yeah, you don't see it very often, but that's what happens. Um, I I hate to say that I hate to see race control decide a race and everything, but that's why they pay him the big bucks, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I mean, that's why he's the admin. He's got the ability to make those kinds of calls, and Rabiati, with all of that weaving, trying to break the draft, ended up causing an issue where it turned out to be interpreted as blocking. So
It would have been possible, and again, I don't know what his fuel situation was, but if it's me and I put myself in his shoes on the final lap, I'm going to take that high line all the way around, and where I know that is the absolute fastest line, and see that I can maybe get the crossover in the turns 3 and 4 area and work my way underneath them and probably sneak by for the win at the start finish line. You're kind of sitting duck as a leader on the in this particular style of racing, anyways. But I would have probably stuck to that high line and just done as little moving of the wheel as possible, scrubbing off as little speed as possible, and fought it out maybe there, trying to protect the high line to take the win there. But that's right there, as you see on the replay. That weaving on the backstretch is ultimately what decided the race.
so obviously no interviews. Um, let's hear some final thoughts from you, Gary. What did you think of this race? And obviously you haven't seen too much of this league, so what'd you think of the league itself?
Um, I like the premise of the league where it's here to kind of be a beginner IndyCar league for folks that haven't really tried IndyCar. That is great. I think we need more of that. Anytime it brings more people into IndyCar, that is a great thing. I have full faith in Chris Scala and the captain and everything that he plans to do with this league to do just that with his mission. So I think it's a great premise, and it has a great admin. I think some of the teams here, TI always brings a good team. Some of these other racers here that I've seen that I've raced with before are good guys. Luke Daniels, Fontaine, I've raced with. Audi, I've raced with before in some races. Whitaker, I've raced with before. So it's got a good field of folks here that are still learning. Um, I did read that the admins were kind of looking for some feedback on the race. I think there were some folks here racing with a little bit of aggression. I think there were also some folks here racing in a super speedway race in an IndyCar for the first time that really aren't sure of the closing rates and that type of thing. Probably need to spend a little bit more time and practice learning that thing. I think the next race they have here at Auto Club, or if they ever go to Michigan, a place like it, will probably be a little bit better, where they're a little bit more used to these things. But you could kind of tell for a majority of the field today was a big learning experience. But you could also tell the people that have previous IndyCar experience, Scott Wise being one of those, was able to get his car well out in front of others and use his experience. Unfortunately, experience doesn't always give you an extra gallon or two in the tank, and that's ultimately probably what cost him his win here. Because if he didn't have to make that last stop, then he's not speeding, and if he's not speeding, he doesn't lose a lap, and you just one thing adds up and on top of another, and then it just ends up being into a. Uh, it looks like his day was a lot worse than what his final stats will actually show. But a lot of people learned some lessons this week. Hopefully, they'll put them to good use. And next time they visit a track like this, where the Indy cars will use the draft, use pack racing, that type of thing, they'll be a little bit more cognizant of the closing rates and other drivers around them. But that's kind of how I saw it today. Thanks for having me. Had a fun time. And I hope anybody that's watching, if they like what they saw, make sure to search out Captain's Open Wheel Series. Sign up to be a part of it and join the Discord. You can network with the other drivers and everything, and you can be on the next grid, and hopefully you'll have some fun too. So thanks for having me, and thanks for everybody watching from home.
Absolutely. So Robbie Oddie and Sam Fontaine swap positions. Sam Fontaine gets first, Robbie Oddie second, Ben Pierce, then Dan Marrera, and Scott Wise are your top 5. That's it for us here in the Captain TV IndyCar Series, Open Wheel Series, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.